By the way, I've got a little surprise for you. So I ordered 3 new chess books. So I probably should have asked you for your recommendations, but so
if they call your attention, that's good.
Yeah. So I mean, because I have a lot on Chessable, I don't have as many in physical form. So 2 of them arrived. The third one won't arrive until middle of July. But obviously, I won't. It'll take me a long time to finish the first 2 books. So.
Yeah, you have plenty.
Actually, and there's a 4th book I have on my wish list, but I thought there's no need to get 4. I mean, 3 is already more than enough. So, are you curious what they are?
Yeah, of course.
And I'm curious if you've read any of them, and if you did, tell me your honest opinion. Okay, so the first one. Well, the first one, if you didn't read it, shame on you. Okay, so so it's my 60. Yeah, my 60 memorable games by Fisher. Surprisingly, I haven't read that yet.
I didn't go from cover to cover, but I didn't go through most books cover to cover. I read some parts. I see the games that I'm interested in. But yeah, I've seen a lot of those annotated games by him. So yeah.
Okay,
that one I know.
Yeah. I mean, I have to get. I mean, everyone has to get that book, right? I mean, it's a kind of a must-have if you're.
Yeah, it's just a big. Yeah. It's like my system. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The second one is. I'll tell you the author, and I want you to guess it. Okay, because you should be able to. So Axel Smith.
I know the author by. I know the author by name. I actually haven't.
Oh, okay.
Never read any.
Well, he was one of the authors of the Woodpecker Method, which I already have.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then the other one, which I've done a lot of research on these books, right? So, this has come highly recommended, but it's called "Pump Up Your Rating." And
I've heard the title, but
yeah,
I didn't read
you read it. Okay, yeah. Well, you don't need to pump up your rating. That's why. And the third one,
I need to. We all need
and the third one, I think your eyes will go big and your smile. I hope. Okay. Third one, I don't know if you read it though. I don't know if you read it. So it's called Python Strategy.
Oh no, I didn't read. No.
You never heard of it though?
I've heard the title, but I didn't read it.
You know who wrote it, right?
No.
Oh, how come you don't know this, man?
No. Is it an old book? Or is it?
It's Petrosian's book, man. It's Petrosian's book.
Really?
Yeah.
No, I didn't read it.
Yeah.
I only read one book by Petrosian.
Okay, that's cool.
But it was in Spanish, so I don't know.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, it's Petrosian's book. I know that he was writing one shortly before he died. So it may, I don't know if this is the one that was published like post, I don't know how to pronounce it, like posthumously, after he died. I don't know if that's the case. I don't think so though. I think he published it when he was still alive. But it's his book. So you get to
interesting.
hear it from his mind.
Yeah, it's a collection of articles by him. I mean, on different topics, mostly about competitive chess, and he shows some examples of his own play. But I don't think it's the same.
No, this is a thick book. It's expensive. I don't know why it's so expensive, but yeah.
That's interesting. I didn't know. I didn't
know that. Yeah, so that'll be the third book, because I predict it's going to be pretty heavy, like reading.
Well, I have to get that one. I mean, I didn't even know about it.
Yeah, it looks. I think it's by Quality Chess. Let me look. It's by a known publisher. I mean, it's a pretty famous, and it's like
new edition by Quality Chess. Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. No, that was okay. So is it? I'm just checking here. Yeah, and it's 4.8 out of 5 rating. Yeah, it is by Quality Chess. Yeah. I'm just going to send it. Well, you can look at it later, but I'll just send you the link to it because it's. I'm surprised you haven't really heard of it. Yeah, so it says this book is an English translation of a Russian classic. So it's an older book. Yeah. And Levon Aronian loves it. Yeah.
Were there previous translations? Because there are some Russian books that are really hard to come by. For example, there's a book on Rubinstein by Razuvaev, which I don't know if it has an English, a translation to English, actually. The old book was in Russian. And actually, Gelfand mentions that book in his own books all the time, but I don't really know if it's in.
I linked it in the study chat. I don't know when I don't know when the original published date is. So this was the annotated edition with 2015. 392 pages. And it's got pretty good reviews, so that'll be it'll be interesting to hear it from his perspective.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm really surprised. I didn't know about this one. I should.
Yeah.
Python strategy.
Yeah, so I'm gonna read those. And
it rang a bell, but I didn't know. I didn't even know. I mean, I didn't have him as being a chess author. Really.
Yeah, yeah. Well, world champions don't really write too much usually. Right? They're busy.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah. So yeah, those are the.
Yeah, actually, this collection of articles. Yeah, I think. I mean, this collection of articles I read. I think it was the whole collection was put up by some other author, and he kind of collaborated. Probably the book was written by the other author.
Yeah, ghostwriting.
Yeah, ghostwriter. Yeah. Most likely.
Yeah, and then I have the fourth book, which I didn't order, and I'm not 100% sure if I'll get this one, but I've heard good things about it. I think it's the title is something like From Amateur to IM. I think it's by a British. By a British writer. I've heard really good things about it. I'm not sure if I'll get it though. I'll be busy. It'll take me like 2-3 years to read these three anyway, properly. I'm still going through Dirk 1953. I'm only about 60% done that one. Yeah.
But yeah, if you go from cover to cover, I mean, it's a lot to cover.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you read them fully, I mean, even reading one book, one good book, I mean, putting a lot of effort into it, it does something massive for your chess. I mean, you don't need to read the entire library if you do it like that. Definitely. Yeah, sometimes one single book that really strikes you as being important ends up pumping your rating a lot, especially the ones that you enjoy the most. Definitely. So for today, well, there were a lot of games to go through because you've been playing and
I've been busy, right?
yeah, you've been quite busy on Lichess. Well, so I decided I'll go through one of your videos. I mean, I kind of figured out that you must have uploaded something to YouTube.
Not too much, though.
Yeah, not too much, but there was one video. Actually, I think it's the most recent one, where you play some rapid games, and I was going to analyze with you one Nidor Sicilian that you played. But then you played the second game that caught my attention even more because of your comments on it. So I want us to review this game because at some point you said that, okay, this looks very machine-like and I don't know what I can learn from this game. And I think it was very instructive. I I mean, your opponent did something a bit weird. The game is, sorry, Big Fat Lazy Cat.
Okay.
Versus always DC. And your opponent plays, well, e4, c5, d3. You mentioned that he was probably going after some version of a closed Sicilian. Could be. If he plays knight c3, f4, knight f3. He could also be thinking about playing King's Indian attack at this point. Well, we don't know what he's going to do, but by playing d3, it has to be one of those two things. Or else he's going to do what he did in the game and just play really awkward and just within his first 3 ranks mostly. Yeah, sometimes you come by this type of strategy. You play d5 here. I mean, it's okay. It's fine.
I had no idea what I was doing. Like I'm not familiar with this at all. So.
Well, I mean, it makes sense. This is not a setup, actually. This is just bad. So it's good that you're not familiar with it. I mean, you have to be happy here. He played the bishop to e2, which in context of this pawn structure makes no sense whatsoever. I mean, if you play d3 and e4 with white, well, you better go for King's Indian attack. You put the bishop on, well, on a better square. On e3 is just too passive. It interferes with the rest of the pieces. I guess that if you're going to play it like that, you're going to play knight gf3 castle, and then c3 and d4 should be your default plan. But even for that purpose, this bishop is kind of clumsy here. So what else can white think of? I mean, knight gf3 castle, rook e1, bishop f1, getting out of the way of the rook, and then c3 d4. I mean, it's far too slow. At the very least, you should be fine, for sure. e5, it's okay. c3 also makes sense. Bishop e7, and now you would expect knight gf3, but this, well, knight f1. I will add a question mark to that one. It just deserves it.
I remember this game now.
Yeah, I mean, it looks absurd and ridiculous, but it ended up being very instructive. I mean, you have to strike with e5 at some point, I guess. It's the plan that makes the most sense, I guess, and it's probably the time to do it. I mean, your opponent is really underdeveloped. It's not that you're going to destroy him right now or anything, but d5 is already kind of uncomfortable. I mean, what is he going to do? Play knight g3? The knight on g3 looks awkward. If he takes d, knight takes, well, you're taking over the center. I mean, you castle that's also fine, I guess. Though c4 has to be accounted for. c4 with the d of knight, and well, at least he closes things up a bit for now. But well, he kept playing very passive stuff. h3 makes no sense. I don't know what you think about this kind of strategy. You probably come by this playing on the internet, because some people just do this. They play very dubious or just outright bad openings, or very restricted. They maneuver with the pieces within their first 3 ranks, and well, I don't know. Do you enjoy playing against it?
Well, this particular setup, I thought made no sense. I mean, his king's in the center. What's his knight doing? I don't love it so much when it's more of a. I always get the two words, the two, like hippopotamus and hedgehog. They're different, right? But I always get them mixed up.
Yeah.
But essentially,
hedgehog is a structure in the Sicilian. In the Sicilian or against the.
Well, it's like the shaving onion English, kind of.
Yeah.
It's like e6, d6, and like a6, h6.
Yeah. E6,
g6. Yeah.
No, just e6, d6, a6, and b6. That's the hedgehog.
B6.
These four are the
Really?
B6. The bishop goes to B7, then knight to D7.
That's the hedgehog.
I can.
Yeah, show me.
Yeah, I can show you quickly. For example, it's quite common against the cam variation because white gets the time to play C4 and knight C3, even if you attack this. Knight F6, knight C3, queen C7. So we prevent this, and now for example, white 3, so that bishop B4 isn't coming, and now B6. The idea of bishop B7 putting pressure on E4.
You like these types of positions, right? As black.
Yeah, I've been suffering a bit because some new attacking ideas have been found for white. They leave the king in the center for a while, and they make some pawn thrusts.
Yeah, computer
like
style.
G4, yeah. And I'm not having a good time with that. And actually, it looks like it's the way to go for white. Yeah, and in this type of structure, I mean, no particular nuance in the move order I'm playing here, but this is the setup. Okay. It's very flexible for black. It's restricted, but even though it's restricted, black has good squares for all his pieces. The plans are a bit complex. I mean, white sometimes just grabs space on the queen side. He tries to destroy a structure a bit there. Black even plays stuff like this because he wants white to maybe weaken himself a bit on the king side and then break in the center. It's complicated, really. The hippopotamus is a bit...
That's more like G6, right?
Well,
G6.
Yeah, it's G6. E6, D6, the knights to D7 and E7, B6, and a double fianchetto. It's more offbeat, really. I mean, we can call the hedgehog mainstream opening. I mean, it's perfectly viable, even though it's a little hard to play. And as of today, I think it's experiencing some difficulties. It's still playable and it's still theory. But hippopotamus is more of a setup that shouldn't be that good.
Okay.
Yeah. For example, you can play it against anything basically. I don't know. G6, D4.
Yeah, it's the lazy man's opening.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, it's never that easy to punish. I mean, sometimes the problem is that you think you're just going to win.
Yeah, I don't really love playing against it as white.
Yeah, I'm now 97. Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's still complex. It's just not.
I think. I think if I remember correctly, the strategy for white is to. I think eventually, like you want to slice down the center, like often with E5, at some point, and then focus on one wing. That's all I kind of know. I don't know if that's right or not.
Good. I mean, it's a valid strategy. You have to pick the right spot to do it. That's the problem. Playing E5 is hard. Sometimes he can just play C5 and destroy your center. It's complicated. Sometimes the knight on E7 allows some H4, H5 if you delay the castle. I don't even have any particular stuff against this.
Zach says he has so much trouble against hippo setups, as you know.
The hippo, yeah. Yeah, no, it's.
I think I actually do okay against it. I think I do pretty good against it, but it's not enjoyable to play against. It's kind of a headache.
The problem is that you kind of feel morally compelled to punish.
Yeah.
And that's the issue. Probably the best approach is just to play normal chess in the knowledge that you have a fine position and you're probably better. And not more than that. Because the problem is that sometimes we wish to get, clear advantage or...
That's what they're hoping for. That's why they play it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's not the best mindset because it's really frustrating when you just don't get that advantage. And it's really easy it's really easy not to get an advantage against it. uh, so okay, back to it. H3. Yeah, this is, well, not a hippo, not anything. um, and D5. Yeah, this is what you should be doing now, trying to open things up. F3. Well, I don't have to say that this is a mistake. Knight C6, bishop C5, G5, sorry. Oh, here you were debating between A6 and rook E8, and I don't know if anything else.
Everything looked good.
What do you think your general plan? Yeah, everything looks good. That's the problem sometimes.
General plan? I didn't really have a specific plan. I'm mostly developed now, so I'm kind of ready to start opening things up. I feel that White's king side has a lot of potentially weak dark squares, just because of his pawn setup. Can't remember what I did in the game, but yeah, I think I'm ready to start trading material. I do have a space advantage. Well, maybe you could argue against that, but White's pieces mostly on his first and second rank, it's harder for him to develop. He's kind of behind in development, so I'm basically ready to unleash.
Yeah, I won't argue that you have a space advantage. You do. I mean, these 3 pawns in the center, either way, you do have a big space advantage, and it's not the kind of space advantage that White has in the hedgehog, because in this case, the side that's more restricted has awful pieces. I mean, all these pieces can be called terrible, every one of them. The bishop on G5 might be even a kind of tactical weakness. Not now. I mean, there's nothing there, but I mean, it's not such a great piece either. I mean, when you put a bishop on G5, you expect to have some kind of pressure in the center. Here, White has pieces that are so bad that's not even a thing. So yeah, started the plan with, well, an expansion on the queen side. It's fine. I mean, bishop e6 is just true natural move. It should be fine. You play the e6, the idea of b5, and you said something to the effect of, let's see what he does.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I mean, he's in a tough spot here. I mean, what is he doing with this knight? I don't know. With this bishop on e2, you probably need to play h4, knight h3, knight f2.
Yeah, I think part of like a6 too was like it slowly improves my position, but I think right now my opponent's worst enemy is himself, so I'm just kind of letting him self-destruct, you know? Yeah,
just be yourself. Keep doing what you're doing.
He's his own worst enemy.
Yeah. I don't even know if you need to play c6. You might be able to push b5 and b4.
Yeah, I thought about it, and then something scared me. You know me. I'm always scared. I don't know what it was. I might have been maybe lazy in my calculation. I might have been thinking like d4, and then what?
d4? No way. I mean,
c4 maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, one
D4,
principle
C4.
is that he shouldn't be able to get away with open in the center right now. I mean, your pieces are perfectly placed. His are absurd. Your castle. So his only hope here is keeping everything as close as possible. Once he plays c4, he has a problem. Let's try to spot what the problem is.
Well, I could just play d4. If he takes, then I have queen a5, and I've gained even more space.
But why put a pawn on d4 when that's a huge hole in his position? You need a piece on d4, not a pawn.
Just thinking, like, what's so good about the knight there, though?
Knight on d4.
Mm-hmm.
An outpost like this, it's huge. I mean, even if you don't win anything immediately, that knight is a huge problem for white. Yeah, at any point, that's one thing you can fight for here. Squares for your pieces. If it's in the vicinity of the opponent's king, in white's position, well, that's terrible for white. He has already enough problems with his pieces being as bad as they are. But something like this, well, it just.
What about?
I mean, for one thing, it's another pawn move, and that's maybe a bit too much. Sorry, what about?
Well, I was just thinking, like, I'm just kind of scared, like, if he tries to trade it off, like knight d4, bishop e3.
Well, can he give this bishop? Can white?
I thought he would be happy to trade because he's the one at a space disadvantage here, even though that's his good bishop.
Yeah, the problem is he has all the pawns on light squares. If he trades this bishop, his position is dead. Because you're even going to keep this one. I mean c4. There are also some tactical problems, maybe with pawn take. I don't know if he's not just losing anything here. But even if there wasn't, and he takes 94, that looks extremely powerful. It's changing bishop. I don't think that's a real option. That this bishop should. I mean, it's the only minor piece that's half decent for one.
I put him on the microphone. Sorry, that's my,
oh,
yeah, I gave him the microphone.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. Okay, sorry, continue.
Oh, no, okay. Joining in the chat.
Yeah.
Yeah, he can't give this up, and he definitely can't allow the trade of this bishop. That would just be a disaster on the dark squares. So your opponent, I mean, well, after this, we still need to find the refutation, sort of. Shouldn't be that hard.
After c4 specifically?
Yeah, I don't want to trade. Well, no, I mean that's because c4 is the move you were more or less scared about.
No. I was saying if it was d4, I wasn't sure about, but then I thought maybe I could play
this one.
Yeah, maybe then I can just play c4. That's what I was thinking.
Or you can open everything up. This really looks like it. I mean, his king is still here. Yours is safe. Bishop takes b6. I don't know. You have stuff like queen b6. It looks like he's collapsing here. Not only that, there's also d takes d. But c takes d looks like the more principled option. Bishop takes b5, queen b6. I don't know. This looks like a ruin for white.
I hate the pawn. I hate that. Probably more about anything in chess. I just hate when there's all these pawn options. You know that. I hate that. I get really. I like to avoid that. It's kind of a laziness thing.
Yeah, but I mean, in this situation, try to see past that and think, okay, if these pawns disappear, who's better? You have a huge lead. If everything opens up, his king is still there. It has nowhere to go, really. It needs like a million tempi just to castle kingside, where he will still be in bad shape. I don't think he even should get to castle without dropping anything. So yeah, if he opens the center, I mean, that's the principle. I mean, if the opponent who has the worst pieces, who's more restricted, and who's less developed, in this case, everything happens at once. If that side tries to open the center, he's going to lose. because, well, when the position opens up, your pieces are going to be better placed, so they will take over. And that's the reason. And that's why your opponent's strategy is completely focused on keeping everything close here. Otherwise, he will just be completely crushed after everything is open. I like the plan. Maybe you can play b5 and b4 and try to get targets. I mean, b takes c, that's the target. That's the thing you need now. You already have a huge lead. G3, he keeps pushing pawns to third rank. b5, okay, you follow through, that's good. h4, b4. I actually liked it. I mean, you're doing what you should be doing. And bishop d2. I mean, that's a big provocation. He's just going back and forth with the pieces.
Yeah, that was a kind of a weird move. But maybe he also wants to give room for G pawn to advance, maybe.
Yeah, makes sense, but at this point, this looks so ugly.
No, this is a weird game. My opponents don't play like this normally.
So yeah, I mean, at this point, I'm always checking this stuff. C4. I mean, I really want to rip everything open and to come to the moment of the truth where this king is exposed and there are some weaknesses I can actually attack. A5, I think it's good. I mean, you have
it's the safe approach.
Yeah.
No risk.
Knight h3. He doesn't really know how to untangle those knights. They're really terrible. I think here you make the first big mistake. This is big positional mistake.
Did I take? I must have taken.
No. It's not a capture.
Knight h5? I can't. What did I do? No, it couldn't be knight h5. What did I do here? I probably closed the center. I probably played d4 here, allowing c4 is my guess. And I did that. Yeah. I did that hoping he will play c4.
Yeah, I heard.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted to see this.
I was happy with that. It's the same reason what we talked about in the opening, that I felt like I understand what you're saying, that when we have better development and our opponent's king is in the center, that we'll be happy to open it up. I understand that. At the same token, isn't it true though? Like if we have more space, it's an advantage, right? Because we can maneuver our pieces into a good position so that we can attack. So I thought, I've got so much space here. He has very little maneuverability. And if he plays c4, I have all the space to work with. So that was my logic.
Well, the thing is, you get more space, and you're certainly better. I mean, his piece arrangement is still a mess. But now you're giving him play on the king side. I mean, he actually has pieces there. He has a very clear pawn break with f4. I mean, when you play against the king's Indian defense, you also get more space, but that doesn't mean that you're necessarily crashing. And here, if you open the center, you're going to destroy him, because you're going to catch his pieces in all these weird places, while yours are just perfectly placed. I don't even know what the move is, but I'm really suspecting that d4 should be powerful. Bishop a6 with the same idea also looks good. There are just a bunch of options that look tempting to me. I mean, I didn't really see the analysis, but just trying to calculate a bit. c4. What should white play? if d takes c, you're going to take on e4 and you get everything you want, and you even destroy the center, and yeah, that shouldn't be okay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, d takes c, here you get everything you want.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're even threatening this, e4, 95, and that's terrible. I guess this
would you have had bishop f3 there?
So you mean this line?
Mm-hmm. Well, taking and then bishop f3. No, so f takes e4.
Oh, you mean f
and then
takes,
yeah, and then bishop f3.
Oh, right. Okay, bishop f3. Thinking bishop f5 looks normal. Oh no. Even f5. My turn between those two. f5 looks good. I mean, he can definitely not take here. That bishop covers all the right squares. Oh.
Actually.
No, that should be fine. Oh, bishop f5.
We almost have.
One.
We almost could play knight c5, because if he takes on c6, we have bishop d3, and then and then we win the queen, right? Or we would win the queen.
Knight c5, bishop takes, knight e3, king e2. Knight takes b2.
No, I was going to go bishop g4. Bishop g4. I guess his bishop could go back to bishop f3.
He still has bishop f3.
But then we could just probably take there, and then we have queen d3 maybe. I don't know. It looks like there's something.
Yeah, there is. I mean, you take on f3, king takes, knight takes b2. That has to be completely crushed. I mean, you sacrifice a piece, but that king and all the pawns are falling.
And if he doesn't take on c6, what would he do?
Well, I give this check.
But if he doesn't take on c6, so what would he do? Bishop e2? Oh yeah, that might be maybe knight f2.
I guess something like this, but yeah, this is.
We could just check. Well, could we check? No, probably not.
No, he just changes.
No, but probably still, but then we have
e4?
No, but can we still? We can still just go bishop knight d3, I think.
Knight d3 and knight takes.
Yeah, queen takes.
Bishop takes c6.
Bishop g4. Oh wait, he can take bishop g4. G4 then is on pre. Okay.
Yeah.
Although, yeah.
I like e4 now because he has to take with the bishop, which is appalling. He takes with the knight. There's knight d3. So yeah, this should be just completely crushing. He can't do this. He won't live long enough without this bishop. Something like this. Even rook e8. This should be.
None of his king and heavy pieces haven't moved.
Yeah, and I mean, something like this should happen again. The only thing that was more or less refraining me from playing c4 right now is this intermediate move. But still, this looks pretty decent. I mean, if d takes c, d takes c2, queen takes. I don't really care about his extra pawn here. This should still be excellent for you. Even e4. I mean, I don't know. Probably e4. Probably e4. If he takes, I go bishop g4. I'm willing to sacrifice those pawns. I mean, it's not the only way. And probably you can, I don't know, play bishop a6 here. Not necessary to go for all the advantage sacrificing another pawn here. This one is basically dead. I don't think that that's going to be a problem.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you just try to open this up. Your opponent shouldn't be able to survive here. If you don't see this clearly, which I don't quite, I mean, maybe bishop a6 first, So now this is an actually very strong threat. Yeah, you have that c4 coming in any case. It's not even the only idea. I don't know, you might take first. The thing is, you need squares for your pieces and to open up the position. d4, yeah, it just closes everything. Yeah,
I played another game just like this yesterday or the day before. It was probably not on stream. I mostly just been playing, not on stream. It was a Roy, a closed Roy Lopez. And you know, normally you as white you want to keep that closed and then attack on the king side. But the computer disagreed, and it constantly wanted me to expand on the queen side. Because there was opportunity, because black played a little strangely on I think he might have played a c4 push, and then it gave me opportunity to play like a4 and break. Yeah. And so I closed it, and I had like 4 or 5 opportunities to open it. Every time the computer wanted me to open it on the queen side. So it reminds me of this, because I purposely closed it all up so that I could attack on the king side. I kind of enjoy that type of position. I kind of enjoy closed positions when I feel like I'm a little bit better. As you can see here.
You're depriving yourself of many targets. I mean, this position, for example, now he's safe. I mean, that's something that he couldn't say just a move ago. I mean, before this c4 idea, breaking on c4, is not even the only approach. It might not even be best. I mean, you can also undermine his pawn structure like this. If you undermine the pawn structure, squares are going to appear for your pieces, and he can't really deal with that right now because his pieces are horrible, all of them. So I don't know if he gives you d4 for the knight, just like, I don't know, incidentally pushing this pawn, you exchange, you put the knight on d4, that's just too dominating. The knight on d4 is looking at f3, which is not supported by the pawn. I mean, it takes control fully of all white's position. It's terrible. Here you more or less threaten to play a3, I guess. So maybe he plays a3, but squares start to appear. I mean, you can take, probably, if pawn takes. You can even try to put something here, yeah.
Something I've noticed.
Many opportunities.
Something I've noticed as I've been reading through Zurich 1953 is, to me, it seems like, boy, I don't know if it was just that era, and maybe I'm wrong, but it seemed like they really like to attack. Like, they were pretty aggressive. It doesn't matter what opening. Like, there were, like, you know, there's a million Nimzos in that tournament, and man, they really love to attack. And they would often, you know, give up a pawn or two, and they'd often make, you know, like queen e1 maneuvers. They were aggressive. Is that just me, or?
Yeah, well, the King's Indian was even coming into fashion at the time. Yeah, makes sense.
like compared to today, like I think at the top level, players are much safer. They were a little more. They were still wild in the 50s.
Yeah, it's become increasingly difficult to play attacking chess. I mean, these guys have the openings analyzed so far into the middle game that, I mean, it's just hard to invent an attack out of nowhere. I mean, in the World Championship match, they kind of got to do it. That was interesting. I don't know why, but they played incredibly aggressive. I know I was expecting them to do what they did, and they still did it. So there's scope even at that level to play like that, but I think it's becoming too hard because everyone knows
how to defend.
I mean, very deeply. Sometimes they just gear the game towards positions that just don't lend themselves to big attacks or anything. So yeah, it's becoming tough. I mean, unless it's a very violent line of the Sicilian, it's it's not easy to get an attack going these days. Not like that. But yeah, they were aggressive for sure. Yeah, so yeah, that's the problem with d4. And another problem is that by closing this, you're giving him the chance to more or less maneuver his pieces into, I won't say good squares because that's going to take a while. But, well, he's not really under pressure, so he gets his time to do something. You play a4, and yeah, he actually made some of his pieces worse. He just came back to f2 for no reason. I think now he has to play f4 most likely.
Yeah, I thought the only thing that makes sense for him is to try to attack on the king side. Otherwise, what's he doing?
Yeah, but now I mean, this is something you should have already decided on, because if you don't do anything, he will push and he can claim he has the space advantage on the king side. The only side where the game is being played now, because the queen side is about to be completely blocked. So if you allow this, you're risking being worse, which is funny. I don't know. You probably have to take here. I'm guessing. And yeah, for him, ideally, he would like to take with the pawn.
Yeah.
He would like to take with the pawn. I have doubt because of this pawn, but well, what you gonna do? I mean, you have to take with the pawn. If knight takes, well, he can get here, but you have the e5 square for your knight, and I suspect that that's more important than him getting to d5. Because in any case, you can just trade here. G takes f4 would be his ideal way of taking. Yeah. I don't see that you have any strong discoveries now. I mean, you have to play knight d7 if you want to attack this pawn. He will play h5, and in case of check, he still has this. Yeah, it's not so obvious now. I mean, you can.
I'm almost. I was eyeing knight e4.
Yeah. Well, you didn't want to open things up by pawn breaks, and now you want to sacrifice pieces.
Yeah.
Well, if it works, of course. But yeah, he should try f4, I guess. This is the only thing that makes sense. Because, I mean, it's true. You still hold a big space advantage everywhere else. Knight f2 while you play a3. Now you completely lock the queen. Knight to e8, and he took his sweet time here. Really, he should play well. F4 is a bit more difficult, I guess, because if he takes, he probably has to take with the bishop. So he played queen c1, f5, and well, the thing is, I mean, this makes sense, but also some squares appear for him. I mean, if the pawn appears, the knight is going to be well placed on e4. I mean, still the space advantage is huge, and still these pieces are really strange. So yeah, you are better, but things got increasingly complicated, and your opponent also kind of deprived himself of some counterplay by playing quick f4 as he should. So it takes, bishop takes, bishop g5. Well, more or less okay. I don't know if he wants to get the trade, but yeah, it's one less piece, I guess, on the board. Rook a6. You took. You took with the knight. I guess it's all right because the knight wasn't doing that much on c6.
I wanted to open up my rook too.
Even though this knight is not doing that much on e6, there's some prospects of getting it to e5 by a pawn sacrifice, which you mentioned. Yeah, you
I mentioned
it.
Wait, I did? I don't remember that.
Yeah,
I don't.
You were a bit baffled. Yeah, you were a bit baffled about a line by the computer that suggested
Oh, yeah. But it wasn't me.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I wouldn't have considered that.
Well, that's interesting because that's an instructive moment right there. And yet, well, G4. Oh my God, yeah. You can't play G4. G4 is so. This is unagreeable. I mean, when you start pushing pawns like that,
it's
you have to take your pieces into account and the squares you're leaving behind. Because yeah, well, he's kicking out your bishop. Big deal. You go back, and what is he gonna achieve here? This is too easy to defend. So he plays 94. You defend it, and that's about it. And you have all the means to actually exchange this. You're going to play knight e6 or knight f6. You're going to play bishop b7. So even if he plays knight f g3, everything's going to be traded here, and he can't plug these holes. That's not going to happen. So he's going to be stuck with this awful bishop. He doesn't have control of f4 anymore. And all he achieved was, okay, he kicked your bishop out of f5, I guess. Not such a big achievement. Yeah, it's just too weak, and you need a very good reason to leave these star squares so unprotected, especially if you only own this bishop, poor bishop. So yeah, what else? Well, 94 right now.
Sorry,
I
just want to give a quick shout out to the regulars in the chat. Hello, Case Money, Mr. Sabon,
Yep.
None Too Smart, and Audi noted Zach. And I know there's a few lurkers in there as well who don't like to speak up. Okay, sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, G4. I mean, on principle, it's a very ugly move. Another pawn on dark on the light square, sorry, and leaving control of this square, which is also incidentally on an open file for black. That's way too much. This better achieve something big, otherwise it's just bad. I know he wants to play knight g3, makes sense. Other than that, it's just so weak.
Yeah, like 2 years ago, maybe like g4 is the type of move that I'd be like, oh boy, scary. But now it's like I don't fear this. You know, I'm yeah, we can just retreat, be patient, and we're fine. So yeah.
Yeah, it's just a one move threat.
I've noticed that a lot I've noticed that a lot in my games lately. I have a lot more. I'm not as scared as much. Not just pawn advances, but just in general. And sometimes even when I'm a pawn down, I am a lot more calm than, because it's it's just a pawn down. I've got many drawing chances. You know, this is something new I've noticed in my play.
You can start to feel the counterplay that you still have chances.
Yeah, and I'm just more. I feel I'm more confident, and I'm not as scared. I'm
well, yeah. You sound way more in your analysis when you play. You even say, okay, I'm just burning too much time in this decision. It's not necessary, and you play a move that makes sense, and that's it. I've noticed that.
I've really worked on that lately, because as I showed you before, I have that spreadsheet that I'm tracking my things, and at the beginning of that, I noticed, oh my God, time trouble was a big issue of mine, and I've really worked on that, and it's not nearly as big of a problem as it used to be. The number one issue by far, like the one that's showing up in red, is tactics. Like almost every game is decided by either a tactic I missed to employ, or tactics that I missed from my opponent. Even in the games I win, like there's usually at least one or two, notable tactics. Yeah.
Well, but still, I mean, those comments, I really like them because they were very practical. And it was a position where, yeah, you probably don't need to to spend that much time, and you were wondering about the plans, and at some point you said, okay, I will just make a,
Yeah, because
a move.
I'm a real perfectionist. Like
Yeah,
I'm a super perfectionist, and that I've noticed really kills my clock tremendously,
yeah,
especially out of the opening. Like I'll get a fantastic position, like +2 out of the opening, and then I want to continue that. I want +2.3, but then I burn all my time, and then often in the middle game, I get low on time, and then yeah, you know the story.
yeah. And then it gets really random.
Yeah,
You just have to play something.
yeah, because it's quite rare for me to have a worse than equal position out of the opening. Like that's really, really rare. Like it almost never happens.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's good that you're using that technique of calling yourself, calling your own attention to the fact that you're burning way too much time on a decision that doesn't merit it. That's very important.
Yeah, especially when you have like two good moves, right? Like you're totally winning, and you got two really good moves. It's like, oh,
Yeah,
don't burn
just
all your
choose.
time. Just choose. Yeah, it's so hard though when you're a perfectionist. It's so hard to do that though. But
Yeah. Well, your opponent wasn't a perfectionist.
No.
I mean,
he's a big fat lazy cat.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, what? Not even 3 minutes, and he got to this position. Move 21. Yeah, he made G4 in 1 second. I mean, literally 1 second. 1 second G4.
I wonder if he played like this because it was a slightly mismatched pairing. I mean, not tremendously, but I was 125 points higher. So I wonder
if have to see the rest of his games.
Yeah.
To see if he just does this
Yeah.
regularly or not. There are people that do this. I don't get it, but maybe I mean, some people just get joy out of winning this way. It's like, oh, I won the game just by doing whatever. But yeah, I don't think it pays off in the long run. Definitely. Bishop C8, 94. I mean, of course, G4. Well, no G4. Maybe 92. Now he can hope this knight gets a better home. Of course, you can also hope to put a knight here, maybe, if you get to knight f5. In any case, 94 has to be played. And in this case, if you take on e4, when he takes with the f pawn, there's a big difference if the pawn is on g4 or on g3, because this bishop is way better if it's on g3. By playing g4, that goes out the window, and you have f4 for your pieces. So this is not going well. Queen c7, h5. Well, at least he plays that, which is good. Otherwise, I mean, at some point when I was looking at the game, I thought, well, I might just play this, even if I lose this pawn. I don't care. I paused the knight here, and I should. But what you did, I think, is perfectly sound.
After h5, he has 8 pawns.
He has what?
After h5, he has 8 pawns.
The base of the chain. There it goes. The chain goes these 2 ways. And he had to play it. Otherwise, I mean, it's like he's just committing himself to putting all the pawns on light squares, because he couldn't allow this to happen. So at this point, I guess you have to play h5. But yeah, I mean, you can get a piece to this square, even if it takes some maneuvering. But what you played is fine. You're just going to take here and then put something on f4, even the rook. Knight f to g3, and here you said, well, he's trying to replace one knight with the other. Not for long though.
Yeah.
And well, this is, I guess, a big mistake. Well, now we see the reason. 94, you just take, you put the rook on f4, you double up on the f file, and you have the f file, the dark squares, and this bishop is funny. So yeah, I mean, that's the problem. You can't repair that pawn chain. That's just terrible. I'm trying to remember though. Where was the pawn sacrifice that the computer was suggesting?
Oh, did it recommend one?
Yeah, in the comments. Oh, I think at this point, if white took, for example, then rook takes, then you had this idea to play e4 and knight c6 and knight e5 sort of. Yeah, I think that was more or less the idea. Yeah, I don't know. I should put the lines so I don't forget. But yeah, e4 is kind of a typical idea here. I mean, the pawn kind of bothers you actually because you want access to the dark squares. You want access to e5. I mean, imagine a knight on e5 would be just, I don't know, white's position would collapse immediately. You'll have d3 if he takes like this, or knight takes f3. So yeah, this pawn sacrifice actually works quite well in many scenarios. I'm just trying to remember the line. Oh, it was something like this. Yeah, you were considering this move. Though rook a takes f6 should be more powerful, but I think you asked the engine about rook f1, and here it gave this move. I don't know if you remember anything.
I don't remember this. No. I think I was streaming at like midnight. I was pretty tired. Yeah.
Oh, okay. But yeah, this is a perfectly sound pawn sacrifice most of the time. I mean, imagine that this happens. He can take with either the d or the f pawn. The f pawn maybe is a bit easier for you because queen just gets there. But even here, this is just terrible for white. I guess you give a check, king d1, and you have this maneuver. I don't think he can hold his own for much longer. I mean, you have access to e5. This collapses. You have d3 as a tactic most of the time. Maybe in this position you can already play this, and if bishop takes, rook takes f3. I mean, that pawn sacrifice kind of releases all the energy of your pieces. Not that it wasn't necessary. I mean, you took here, and well, he just blundered the pawn. But even here, the pawns are just too big. I mean, you completely own the dark squares and the only open file on the board, really. So as long as this bishop doesn't get active, which at this point won't happen, this should be completely crashing. Yeah. So how did the game end? Well, he just blundered this, and after time it was just complete collapse. How did it end? You pushed. Yeah, I think that was it. There was nothing. Yeah, nothing.
I think I missed a mate. I think I missed a mate. In. I don't know if I was it. No, here. Yeah, maybe I didn't miss one. Okay, maybe not. But I think I remember in the game. I thought this was checkmate. I thought it was checkmate. Yeah,
that's a perfectionist talking, because it's almost as if it was. Really. And if it's not now, it's within a couple of months.
And he resigned.
So, yeah. I mean, I thought it would. Yeah, I thought your thought process was interesting. Well, there were some things to go over here. That idea of closing the center so you just exploit the space advantage Well, actually, it took some of the advantage from you because your opponent is so poorly coordinated and he plays like that. You should strive to get targets as quickly as possible because his pieces won't be ready to fight in equal terms.
So Morphe wouldn't have approved of my d5.
No, and Karpov either.
Oh, okay. Oh, that hurts. Yeah.
that was harsh.
Yeah. Even Petrosian, right?
Petrosian wouldn't have approved. No, they will go for the kill. I'm completely sure. Yeah, you give him time, you give him breaks in a way more controlled situation. I mean, if your opponent has such poor pieces, you should just strike and play actively. I mean, your pieces are beautiful. You can even improve a bit further before you do it. You can even undermine his pawn structure a little bit more, so weaknesses appear. For example, if this one disappears, then the c3 pawn also falls, and hey, you get a look on d4. That's good. Meanwhile, how is he gonna fight with a knight on f1 and knight on h3? This thing here on e2, that just won't happen. Any opening of the position is almost certain to be good for you.
Okay.
That's why closing is so bad. He closes and okay, he's stable. He's not losing immediately, and that's saying a lot here. And well, I remember that in that video. Then you can revisit the video, and you will see that yeah, the computer was offering that pawn sacrifice, and I was reminded of a game I played. I mean, I put this game, the Liberty.
The French opponent.
Garnier. Oh, he's Argentinian. But
okay.
Yeah, the last name is French, really.
Yeah. Garnier.
Yeah. He's a very strong player. He's like 2200 or so.
How long ago was this?
Well, let me think. It has to be like 7 years ago. Yeah. I think this was 2015, 2016.
You were you about the same as him rated?
No, I was already 23, 50 more or less.
Okay.
Yeah, give or take. And well, I got an edge out of the opening. This was the position.
Let's see. Can I guess the opening? Let's see. It's gonna be hard with so many pawns. Hang on. What the heck could this be? There's so many pawns. He's missing. Okay, so what the heck? Okay, so you're missing an F pawn for his E pawn. Like a bird or?
No, but pay closer attention to the central structure. C4, D5, and E4.
English?
D5 and C6. Not in English. I still have the D pawn. It's on D5. So.
It's hard because I don't know openings I don't play.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, D4 and C4 against C5, D5, it's a Benoni.
So how does the F pawn get traded off, though?
Yeah, I will show because
yeah, just really quickly. Yeah.
Yeah, this is not the most usual variation in the Benoni. But my opponent allowed me to play with E4 and take with the E pawn, which is fine. I mean, this is all theory. H3 just. H3 actually allows me to play bishop E3 here. After he takes, instead of taking with the C pawn, which is one of the main lines. Here, my idea was to take with the E pawn and against the check, play bishop E3. This is how this central structure appears. And there's no knight G4. That's the idea of H3. And this structure, what I like about it is that, I mean, all things being equal, white is always going to be better. I mean, the space advantage is clear. And black doesn't really have anything to show for it. I mean, if this game goes on normally, black is in a world of pain. My opponent plays well. He has to change this pawn structure. In this case, if I take here, he's going to have E5 for the knight. Not with the f pawn because f4 comes, but with this bishop takes, pawn takes. Now he makes sure that e5 is available. I'm not hanging the pawn. Rook takes e3 loses to queen d2. I mean, it's just that bad. I get to h6, I play knight g5, and it's completely crashing. I mean, it's funny because it's all about the weak squares. He needs this pawn to stay here for a little bit longer, or else he gets killed on the dark squares really quick. I mean, you can't really do this. Rook e1, and I exchange with, while I win some time against the queen. And if he goes back, then this followed by knight g5, double of rooks, and 94. It's undefendable, really. So knight b7. He has e5. I have the f5 to put pressure on. e4. Here, this is how we got there. a6. This was already a bit slow, I guess. And I'm just following my plan. I double up. Well, he allowed g4 after knight g5, knight h5, which is again maybe a bit suspicious. Queen f4, f6. Yeah, here we got to the critical position. a6 and b6 is, well, bad sign for black because, well, this bishop is not going to b7 definitely. So we have a very similar structure to the one we saw in your game. Well, not structure as a whole because there were more weaknesses probably for white there. But these 2 pawns with the ability of white to play e5. This pawn sacrifice is lurking, and I was looking for it all the time. And the whole point is, well, freeing my pieces, especially e4 for the knight. If the knight gets to e4, this is totally crashing. At this point, I didn't play it because I wasn't completely sure. There were some lines to calculate that I didn't fully accomplish it. And for example, knight takes, queen takes. I had to see queen takes f6. There were some checks here, but it amounts to nothing. If he played queen g3, I think I missed that I could just play king to h1 and I'm fine. I only saw this rook g2 with this check coming, followed by queen here, or, well, I don't remember exactly. But I mean, at the distance, I was seeing some problems. F takes c just loses right away. Queen h6 and knight g5 is just completely crashing. And d takes c, well, this is also a bit complicated. I mean, it really looks good for white. There's a lot of stuff going on against that king side. But f5 is still a bit messy. If knight g5, there's this. Apparently, I had g takes f. Well, I mean, the thing is, if you know that this is a thematic sacrifice, it's way easier to consider it, of course. Otherwise, it's most likely you're not even going to look at e5 because it just seems like it loses the pawn to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 black pieces. But it's actually lurking there because the knight on e4 is just too powerful. At this point, it's useless, and just for the price of a simple pawn, it becomes really strong. I played h4 though because I didn't succeed in calculating all the lines. Of course, the game was far from perfect, but e5 is always there. At some point, it's gonna happen. Not easy to stop, at least, because every time you do this, f6 just falls apart, and white, white wins the f file, and that's the problem. So, well, I will just get to the point where I managed to play it. I thought I was preparing it in a better way. That was my feeling here. I'm threatening h6 now, so h6 is more or less forced. And now I play d5. I mean, if I don't, I might be even risking that he plays it, and g4 this time is I mean, when I played h4, I had this position in mind, and I was already taking a look at this. Otherwise, 95 was a bit of a problem.
You've
But
been
now
you've
it's
been
still another point.
yeah, you've been eyeing e5 for so long, so every move, right?
Yeah,
This is
yeah,
a very
it
hard
had
move to play,
happen.
though.
Um,
It's like the last
well,
move you think you could make.
yeah, it's the most protected square in Black's camp.
Yeah.
The thing is, this particular pawn sacrifice is it's just about freeing squares. That's why it doesn't really matter how many black pieces can take the pawn. It's all about getting pieces to e4. The knight, maybe the queen at some point. I don't know. But yeah, this is actually terrible for black. What I saw, I remember, is pawn takes. I saw this knight takes. Actually, knight h4 was even stronger apparently, because then I play queen e4, and it's just the attack is huge. But knight takes, h takes, f takes is always terrible because of queen e4, and there's nothing against a checkmate. And if h takes, I just recover the piece, and well, I have e4 for the knight, so that shouldn't hold for much longer, I guess. I also get the h file, h7 under control, so that can't be good. So he took with the knight, and I take, f takes, queen e4 is still very bad. If d takes, knight e4, or I take on f6 directly, that looks appalling. So queen takes. Actually, we both missed something here. e5 at this point wasn't that strong. This is just anecdotic, because I think it's an even harder move. f5 was good, or at least it gave black more of a fighting chance. If e6 has f4, very unexpectedly. Well, he's still in the game, I guess.
It's pretty complicated.
Yeah, I didn't even see it. My opponent didn't see it. I think that the engine suggested it afterwards. No, not at this point. Sorry, maybe e5. Oh, here. Sorry. Yeah. Oh no, it was even harder than that, because if you play f5 right now, e6, f4. I actually have queen e4, and if knight f6, there's queen c6. So that can't. No, actually, it was way harder. Knight takes e5 as he played. Knight takes e5, and now f5 is the move. The only move to keep himself in the game. But come on, you have to find that. I've missed way more obvious stuff than f5 in my life. And apparently white is still better after g takes, because this pawn looks very strong, and I still gonna have e4, but at least this gave him, well, more of a fighting chance, because here I get to f6, and well, if you take a look, he's up a pawn, but it means not he's up a pawn, and this pawn is weak, but this knight is a monster. I'm about to get something to get my pawn back. Just really rook f6. And well, now more or less everything falls apart. He has to play rook g7, I think, because otherwise I'm just entering here with a huge attack, bishop e7. So rook g7, I just defend, and black can barely move well from. Now I'm not even down. Not even down a pawn, because I got this one back.
Can you
but
go
even if I
rook b1?
I'm sure it's good. I mean, it really looks good.
I'm thinking, yeah, rook b1, rook b6, yeah.
I just played this. I just improved the king a little bit. I mean, I didn't feel any need to rush, because he basically can't move. This rook can't move, this rook can't move. Yeah, nothing can move. He played bishop a6. I just improved the bishop. Oh, here, yeah, I play this because I'm taking. That's one other pawn. Maybe h6. Rook e7, check. And that's a. Oh, well, I think rook e7 was a blunder because now I have this and he resigned. Because if rook takes this seat, there's rook f8 and there's nothing against this. Or he has rook h6, but I have check and then I promote and I win a piece. But I mean that e5 pawn sacrifice, I know it looks strange, but it's part of
That's a difficult move.
yeah, there are many classical pawn sacrifices to free squares for your pieces. Take for example, now I'm putting a game by a serious player here. After my game, I'm going to show one by Botvinnik. So yeah, let's step it up. Some notches.
Well, it's good you did it in this order, and you don't follow Botvinnik.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, first you show Botvinnik, and then you're like, and now for a real game.
For a real game. What? Here you have a typical pawn structure, very similar to what you had in the game, except you have pawns on b4 and a4.
Okay, let me see if I can guess this one. But it's so hard for me to guess when I don't play any other opening. But okay, I really have no
Can't
clue.
you put a name to this though?
Yeah, maybe it's.
Yeah, it's hard to put a name to this. I mean, it's so irregular.
Okay, yeah. It's like a King's Indian English. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure here you can say that white played the King's Indian attack, and then he played c4.
Okay, yeah.
So, yeah. So f6. Okay, Botvinnik starts the standard plan to play f4. Makes sense. So bishop e6. Black is clearly going to play on the queen side. And the idea is, a6 b5, and, well, expand there. f4. But now he changes his strategy. He takes, which can happen. I mean, it's not always terrible, but the idea is to apply pressure on the pawn so that he's going to make white push one of them. That's the strategy. Especially, if he pushes the f pawn, dark squares turn out to be, in black's hands, basically. He'll get e5 for the knight. So, of course, Botvinnik is not looking forward to playing f5 anytime soon. So, Pomar starts to provoke him into it. But it has a flaw. I mean, Botvinnik played a very nice position idea now. I will let you think for a bit.
Hmm. Hmm. There's only one line I looked at so far, but it's I don't really see the upside. It's kind of interesting though. Um, Other than that, I don't really have much idea. So I'll just explain it. I don't really see a concrete benefit out of it though. But I was looking at, well, once again, e4 or e5. He has to take, so he has to go fe. Otherwise, I take the bishop. And then there's a few things I could do here. The main move to look at is f5, and he would probably have to retreat somewhere, maybe bishop f7. And then I have a square now. I've got the e4 square, so I could go knight e4, potentially even go well, no, it wouldn't make sense to take with a d pawn, but could also take with the bishop, but probably would take with the knight. Apart from knight e4, I don't really see the benefit though. Like after e4, fe, f5, bishop, f7.
Well, it's excellent. I mean, all your pieces improved by a lot, especially the knight, of course. The knight is excellent on e4. The bishop can come out. The f-pawn might advance and make some inroads in black's position. But other than that, you've killed some black's piece. I mean, this should look ridiculous after this. Bishop f7, knight e4. And black has no pieces at all. I mean, the bishop in this sits, which was active, hitting f4 with annoying, is now... It's actually
so,
target.
It's so hard though. I want my payoff. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's the thing. I know it's hard. It's a positional sacrifice. You're not getting anything in return right now, other than, well, positional pluses. Yeah, no, that makes it hard to grasp and do it in a real game.
Yeah, you know how they often people that like aggressors, like Tall and Kasparov, like attacking chess. I think it takes a lot more willpower to play a real positional. You know what I mean? Like it's easy to sack a piece or sack a pawn and attack, right?
You're going to give checkmate.
Yeah, right. Or just look very aggressive. But it's another thing to do that and just to be very calm, like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The thing is,
brave is the word I'm thinking of.
Yeah, some positional sacrifices are harder than others. I mean, as you get more familiar with more examples, you will see that this one in particular is very typical. It's almost automatic to play if you've seen it before. I mean, there's actually a game by Kasparov. It's Giorgio Kasparov, I think. I will write it in the chat so you can take a look later. I'll try to spell Giorgio as best as I can, but because I know it.
Giorgio, haven't heard of that. Him.
He's a Romanian grandmaster. There are a lot of H's in his name. That's my problem.
H's. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh boy, it looks like someone coughed. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I can't remember where the H.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, Georgian names are pretty crazy. They're very long too. A lot of them. Yeah.
I don't know, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
versus Kasparov.
I'm gonna put that. I'm gonna put that in the chat so they know what I'm laughing at. Okay.
Then there's, I think it's Grigorich versus Kotov. I think Grigorich was playing with white pieces. Well, this first, well, I don't know if it's first game with the sacrifice, but it's exactly the same. I mean, you sack 1 pawn, you push the other, you get e4 for the knight, and you get all your opponent's pieces more or less stuck. I mean, this knight, I mean, you have the pawn c4 for a reason. If it wasn't c4, maybe this would be a bit more suspicious. But yeah, black's pieces are there. Actually, black went down, I wouldn't say quickly, but his position only got worse. He castled queenside because castling kingside is complete suicide here. I mean, you can't go kingside castle, f6 or queen g4. I don't know which one's best, but it's not looking great. Queen g4, it's fine because he's even gonna recover the pawn quickly, because if rook h g8, knight g5 looks yeah, extremely annoying. I mean, what do you do with the bishop? The move does 96. And another benefit is that this bishop, of course, I didn't mention this, but this bishop is a monster. Which it wasn't. I mean, with the pawn e4, it wasn't. So not only the knight on e4 benefited from this. The bishop on g2 also. It's also happy now.
B6.
G6 now. Oh, you can't.
No, B6. Oh, right.
Yeah.
We lose a knight. Okay.
Actually, yeah. With queenside castle, black is just giving back the pawn immediately. So let's think, how can he try to hold on to the pawn? Well, he's facing this, that's the problem. And there's also f6, which is quite a real threat. So, you know, I guess he has to give it back almost immediately.
Yeah, no, that pawn is well protected. That f pawn, yeah.
Yeah, well, white even got his pawn back quickly and with a huge position. h6, well, so that there's no queen h6, but
yeah, and then black is like, what happened, right? Like 5 moves ago, I was fine.
yeah, everything looked at least normal, and now he's collapsed completely. Bishop e7, queen f7. I'm just going to show how it ends because it's beautiful, but other than that, strategically, this is a disaster for black. I mean, and it's been for a long time now. It's great how Botvinnik doesn't even care about the pawns. He's thinking about how good the pieces are. Now he's eyeing the queen side for sure. Bishop takes, takes. He sacked the pawn back. I mean, that's oh well, we play king h1, and that queen side is ours basically. This pawn is so irrelevant. I mean, it just actually it if anything it restricts black's pieces, so it's not really gonna help black in any way. We send rook af1, and I guess that if black does nothing, we just play king h1, bishop e4, and it's still positionally winning even though white down pawn. Those bishops are just ripping black apart. Well, black tried this, but that's just a blunder because there's rook takes, and if pawn takes, there's bishop takes f4, and there's a checkmate here. So yeah, the game even ended like that. And if king a8, queen c8, check. But yeah, it's all about the squares here. I mean, Botvinnik is even willing to give back the pawn that he had recovered because, well, he only cares about the fact that his pieces are way better. But that's a classical sacrifice that happens a lot of the time. I really recommend that you look up those other two games because they are real classics, and it might just fit the pattern in your mind.
Who was it that Botvinnik beat to become world champion? Was it Smyslov?
To become world champion, he won a tournament. I mean, after Arkin,
after that's right.
Died,
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually arguably a lot tougher to do than win a match. Yeah. At that time.
Yeah, at least it's more unlikely.
Yeah.
I mean, anyone can win the tournament. That's the problem.
And then who did he ultimately lose it? He lost to Tall, I believe. Was it who?
Yeah, he got it back twice against Mislov. He got it back in a rematch against Tar. He got it back in a rematch.
But who did he lose it to at the end?
I think against Petrosian.
Was it? No, because I thought Petrosian lost to Spassky.
No, Petrosian is Petrosian loses it to Spassky, but who snatches the title away from Botvinnik and just stays with it?
Was it? Because Tall was 61. I'm curious. I gotta look it up.
And Tal actually lost it the next year.
I think he was already getting pretty sick. Okay, I gotta look it up. We should know this. Okay.
But I think.
You're right. Well, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
But I guess that was his last one. Okay, you're right. It was Petrosian.
Yeah, he didn't recover it after that one because
and then I forgot. I didn't know Petrosian beat Spassky the first time. I didn't know that.
Yeah, they had a rematch.
You beat him the first time. Okay. Oh yeah, man, Botvinnik. So I didn't realize for so long I know he did multiple. But holy crap, he did this for what? From 1948 until 1963. Holy moly. I didn't know he held it for so long. Yeah, I didn't know it was that long. I didn't know that.
Yeah, the thing, it wasn't consecutive periods because he kept losing and then getting it back.
Yeah, but he was always fighting for world champion for that long.
He was the ruler of the chess world.
Yeah, Godfather.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I didn't know it was that long though. Wow.
Yeah, he was a monster. If anyone had made chess advance, theoretically speaking, that was him. I mean, so many new ideas were introduced by him. Well, I hope it was useful. This is something you might want to look into because it will add a lot to your positional arsenal, I think. At least getting used to some of this pattern with typical positional pawn sacrifices. They're more usual than one would expect.
I did that in a game today or yesterday, but I did it very poorly and it was a blunder. But at least what it says is that I'm.
Can you add it?
Yeah, I'm looking for it right now. But it was actually just a terrible move. But the point is, at least I'm opening myself up to the idea of it, right? I'm just trying to find it now. I might have to look at a couple games here. Did I lose? I can't remember. Probably not. I've been on a pretty good winning streak. Let me try to find it. Almost close to a new personal best. Okay, it's not this one. I won't look forever. Don't worry.
It will cover completely.
This one? No. I played so many games. It's the problem. It's. Oh, I found it. I found it. Okay, I'm gonna add it in here. Oh, how do I do that? Oh yeah. Okay. What? How do I? Analysis board? Do I have to do that? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and then study. Okay.
Oh yeah, you have to go to analysis board.
Okay, here it is. Did I add it in here? Oh yeah, yeah. But okay, but I'm telling you, it was a blunder. It was a blunder, but at least I consider these moves now.
I want to try.
Yeah, and I lose the game, probably because of this. So it was a tip. Whoops.
Oh, but c4. Okay, yeah, yeah. You get d5. He gets d5 for the knight, but.
You see what I was trying.
I mean, I get the idea.
Yeah.
It's. Yeah, the problem is d5 was already kind of soft, so it was hard to achieve.
Yeah, well, I thought I could go in the C file. I thought I could go in the C file, but there was a couple of things I missed. I missed queen e2. Oh, sorry. Queen e2. And, 95. And there were multiple ways for white to deal with this. And it was only a 5-second think, so I was maybe a little bit too confident.
Yeah, because even though you ruin his pawn structure, he gets the knight on d5 and nothing else matters really.
Yeah.
That's the main problem. But yeah, c4 would be a good idea in the same position in another context where he's not getting full control of e5 right now.
Yeah, and I'll show you the other game too, which I'm not going to show you the whole game. I'll just spend like 1 minute on it. But just that Roy Lopez I was telling you about, where I closed it, because it's like that very first game that you showed me.
It's with the same theme of today. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's this one. Oh, this has to be it. Just looking at the screenshot, okay, or the thumbnail, has to be this game. Yeah, because this is very, very similar to the first game of the lesson today. Okay, so should be here. And I did win this game, but my opponent was lower rated. Yeah, this is actually just from 5 hours ago. I think this was the game. Hopefully it.
Oh.
Maybe it's not the game. Oh wait, no, this can't be it. Sorry. No, this is the wrong one. This is not the one from the screenshot. I chose the wrong one. Or am I?
It's a Roy.
Oh no, sorry, I'm in the wrong window. Okay, sorry, let me start over here. Yeah, so this one, I did win this one as well though. But this might have been from yesterday. So yeah, this is the Roy, all normal, right? This is, I think knight c6 is, it's a move, but I don't think it's not the best.
Queen c7, knight d7,
yeah. And there's also knight d7 as well.
C takes d. I think if you play knight c6, you have to play this first. If I'm not mistaken, maybe.
Well, yeah, queen c7 I think is the main line.
Actually, yeah, this is. Not even here. I mean, if you're going to play what it was called the Rubinstein variation, you still need to play this and get the knight to d8, and then you play these lines with.
Yeah, it goes to d8. Yeah. But this is still a move. This is still a move. I have notes on this from ChessBase. There are this is still. It's maybe not the best move, but it's still a line.
Yeah, I mean the position is. It's very maneuverable in any case. Though a quick a4 is a bit embarrassing for this book, I guess.
Yeah. So here the engine wanted to break immediately on a4, and as I mentioned earlier in this lesson, I just played the usual kind of locking things up and then transferring things over to the king side. But the computer wanted me to open up the queen side, which I haven't seen as much in the closed Roy. That's not super common, so I didn't really know that was
No, it's kind of typical. I mean, for time being, this is very annoying and it's not so easy to deal with. So, for example, you play bishop e7. Sometimes the problem is that black has some difficulty dealing with the pressure against this pawn. So there are moves like queen e2, for example, which add some pressure here, and it's really annoying because black doesn't really want to take, of course. That destroys his pawn structure. Or even push, because if you push to b4, you're leaving this square for the knight to occupy. So
which is normally
black
what
is really trying to.
Which is normally what. Well, actually, no. Normally, black wants the knight on c5. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and with the pressure here, I don't know, it's kind of annoying. If you play c4, b3 is also probably going to open the queens in your favor. I mean, yeah, the pressure against b5 can get really annoying.
Yeah, and I think the other thing about it.
B3.
Yeah, I think the other thing about it too is in a traditional Roy, by the time I get everything over here, black is really solid. It's hard to actually launch an attack on the king side there. G6, bishop f8, that typical setup. So I would have had an easier time trying to play over here.
This has another benefit. There's another benefit to playing a4 in this particular position. Once you play d5, black should have the bishop on this diagonal, h3, c8. The bishop on b7 does nothing. Actually, there are lines where you go back after playing bishop b7, you go back to c8 because it makes no sense whatsoever here. And by playing a4 now, well, you're making him play bishop b7 because the other lines are just too committal. You don't have another way of defending the rook. Other than that, you should just compromise the pawn structure by doing something like this, but that's not good for black. So yeah, you're making him play a move that he doesn't really want to make, and a4 is fairly typical. You have this pressure here. Yeah, it looks like the time to play. All things to consider.
But I was on autopilot, and this is good too, right? But it's not.
Yeah, it's still fine.
But I take it. You'll see. I really close up the queen side. So standard stuff, right? Bishop e3. I think Fischer often likes like bishop g5 to provoke an h6 weakness, and then he brings it back to e3. I've noticed.
Sorry, now remember, that's another benefit of a4. You can even leave this bishop here, and you can argue that this rook is actually doing something. And the bishop, well, bishops are long-range pieces, so you don't really need to interfere with this rook or anything. At times, you can just leave it on c1. That's just another small nuance of the Rui with this move.
Okay. So I did play a4, but for different reasons. At least, yeah. So he played b4, and well, here we go.
He played b4.
Well, I guess that's partly why he played rook b8. And well, here we go. Boop. So I think the computer wanted a5 first, just to stop him from closing it.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, to stop him from playing that. I think I very briefly considered it. I think I briefly considered it, and then I got scared that he might be able to gang up on this pawn when I only have the rook to defend it. I got a little nervous about that. For example, I don't know how he would do it. I guess it's kind of hard. How did he? Yeah, because he can't move his pieces around. Maybe this take him 10 million moves. Put the bishop on c7 and then the queen on d8, but that'll take it 10 million moves.
You also have your own stuff. One thing a5 does very well here is fixing the pawn a6, and it's a weakness actually. You can also point towards that one, and with more natural moves. Bishop d3 and queen e2 are just and quite normal looking at this. And yeah, you can bring this knight whenever you you feel it works. Yeah, set up with the bishop on d3 and the queen e2. That's uncomfortable. I mean, how do you defend a6? Do you have to go back and stay there? That's ugly. Yeah, it's something to think about. That a5 is nice.
Yeah.
Even though, I mean, maybe it's not the best move, but I don't hate it either. I mean,
Yeah, so c4. And then, yeah, so I was, I don't know, maybe just because I'm more used to this setup and I just went for it. This is more of a standard Roy position.
yeah, I don't hate the idea here. I mean, yeah, you probably deprived yourself of some chances on the queen side. There were some weaknesses, mainly for black, that he had to take care of. But still, you have a good game. I don't think.
I think this was actually an interesting game. I mean, it's just a 10-0 game, so there's going to be mistakes. But if I remember correctly, I think this was actually might have been from earlier today, and it actually was quite enjoyable and interesting for a 10-minute game. There's only so much quality in a 10-minute game. So I did this little rook a d1. I noticed that I remember the computer. I think the computer likes this type of idea. Rook lift, and because we can't do a rook lift on the C file, so just go to the D file. Just taking my time like that. Yeah, this.
Oh,
it looked. Yeah, I mean, I saw that when I played knight h2. I thought, could he take here? But it didn't seem like quite enough. It's so.
No, it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
What do you play? Queen e2 or queen f1?
Yeah, I played, I think, correctly. I think the computer I went queen e2 to just f1. Yeah. Because I don't see what he does after that. I've got everything covered. I'm just up a piece.
Yeah, you have f3 covered too. Knight f5 maybe? Or rook d3.
Oh, I might be confusing this with a different game. We'll see. I might be confusing this.
Right now everything's just under control.
No, you know what? I am confusing this with a different game. I mean, because the other game was even more closed. There was still pawn on g file, I believe. So I'm confusing this with a different game. I think this just it just ends here. It just ends here. But still, the closing of the queen side. Yeah, it's very similar to the first game.
Maybe it wasn't the best. But I mean, it's not like you were killing him on the queen's side. You had some weaknesses to play on. You had the upper hand. But it makes a bit more sense here. In the first game we saw, you closed the position in the center when you were going to absolutely tear him apart there. So that's why I wanted to take a look at it, because it was a bit more clear in that sense. Here it's a bit harder to determine, I guess. But yeah, you're right that right about the fact that you should take a closer look at and think if you don't have the advantage actually in the side that you're trying to completely close, because yeah, it really looks like it's a natural reaction from you to just close the position on one wing to focus on the other, but sometimes you have to play in both. And the rule, it's quite common to play on both wings. So
yeah, I haven't seen it too much. I think that's part of it. I haven't seen many examples of where it's played on the queen side.
Interesting. Maybe we should go through some Karpov games. There's some Anand games too where he plays on both.
I think where I have seen it is more when White tries to get a c5 in. So if we go more of the main line, what does Black do here? Well, for example, like even if c4 here, I think b4 is the best move. I think I looked into this. It's slightly better than b3 if I remember correctly. There's a reason, and it's because if b3 and then knight, it's only like a marginal. It's a hair better, but I think now, wait, is this right? There's some, I have it in my,
you play a4?
well, no, well, it's I think because we basically spend an extra tempo to stop the knight to go to c.
Can play a5 now? Can he play a5?
I think I can just go a3, no?
Could be, and if pawn takes, you take with the c pawn, and you have knight c3. Yeah. Yeah, the knight on b7 is really off.
Yeah, right, because we have a4 is kind of an issue, right?
Yeah, knight c3 already puts a lot of pressure on b5, and
Yeah,
I don't have an idea of what I'm going to do with that b7 knight. It's just bad.
Yeah, so I think that b4 is slightly more accurate here. So I know some of these positions when black plays c5 that there's play on the queen side.
Yeah, and if knight b7 a4, there's probably
yeah, here a4, yeah.
Yeah, but it looks fine.
Yeah, but those are the kind of I'm not sure. I'm not really familiar with other positions where black plays on the queen side here.
Well, yeah, there are a bunch of games where white plays on both wings. He takes up some space on the king side, creates some problems on the queen
Well, maybe
side.
it's because I play
game,
d5, because I know that's
Yeah.
it's not main line. I don't think it's a newer style. I think
The first game of the 1992 match
Fischer,
between
Spassky?
Fischer and Spassky, that first game is awesome. Fischer wins a Louis where he plays on both wings.
Yeah, that was the best game of the rematch.
Yeah, the very first.
Yeah,
game
that was like old Fischer, you know.
fun.
Yeah. So that must have been interesting for people at the
everyone's
time,
speculating.
because they're wondering at that time, like, man, he hasn't played for like 20 years. Can he still play? And then, wow, first game, right?
Yeah, and the first game, well, Kasparov comes nets, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, no, but
they should have stopped right there, bro.
Yeah, unfortunately, I heard that not all the games were so good. Although there's actually a lot of those.
Can you imagine the legend?
Oh right, yeah. He doesn't show up for game 2, 3, 4. Yeah. But actually, a lot of those positions from the '92 rematch are in woodpecker method. I don't know why, but I guess there were a lot of tactics. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So this was good as usual. Good to have another lesson again, and I've been doing pretty well, getting over 2,200 again. So it made up for that. Made up for that low dip. I think I'm. What am I? Whoops. Like 2219. That's not too shabby. 2219. I'm about 20 points away from a new personal best. Yeah. And
you're eyeing the 2300.
Well, that
so
I'm not. That's a big jump. I'm just aiming. Just 1 point. I just want 1 point more. I'm happy.
1 more point. Yeah.
Yeah.
1 point. Yeah.
And on chess.com, I think I'm just 1 win away. 2 wins away for a new personal best on chess.com rapid. And for puzzles on both sites, I need 1 more win on, because I'm currently at an all-time high for chess.com puzzles. I think 3,092. So almost at 3,100 there. And then for Lichess, I think I'm about 2,550. But I haven't done too many puzzles lately. But I'm starting to get back into them again. Yeah, I took almost a year off from them.
It's not the most fun. Yeah.
No, you gotta want to do it. You have to want to do it. Yeah. Okay, I'll let you go. Thanks again. I appreciate it.